Hey, what's up guys? It's Ozzy here. I just got back from the theater and I just watched Dunkirk. This is a movie by Christopher Nolan, which is honestly one of my favorite directors ever. He gave me the Batman trilogy that is probably one of my favorite trilogies of all time. This movie is 1 hour and 46 minutes long, so it's not too long. A lot of other war movies are 2 to 2.5 hours long, and this one's almost an hour shorter. This works out perfectly because if it was any longer, it'd feel way too long, and if it was any shorter, it'd feel way too short. So what is Dunkirk? Dunkirk is basically a story of 400,000 soldiers trapped on a beach, and they're basically surrounded by the Germans. So the Germans are basically coming up and basically gonna wipe them all out, and this is an evacuation story. One huge thing about this movie is there isn't actually a main character, and honestly there's not really any characters at all. And what I mean by this is there's no real kind of character or any kind of character story at all. It's just you're in this war and that's what you're paying to see. You're not paying to see a soldier's story in the war, you're paying to see the war through kind of 3 perspectives. The first story is a tale of 2 soldiers who are trapped on this beach and they're basically trying to get off of it, and that's one perspective. The second is Tom Hardy in his fighter plane, and he basically fucks people up the entire movie. He was one of my favorite parts, and honestly in the trailer, when I watched the trailer in the theaters, they had the IMAX sounds and all that going, and this is what made me want to see Dunkirk. It was Tom Hardy's fighter scene. The scenes are so loud. Tom Hardy's one of my favorite actors, and honestly, World War II, like, plane fights, I don't know why, I just really like them. The third perspective is a British guy, and he has 2 teenagers with him, and they're basically traveling on a little speedboat to try to save as many soldiers as they can. So in the movie, a lot of people, they know 400,000 soldiers is pretty hard to rescue just on the military zone, so a lot of people actually go with their own boats and try to rescue people, and this is one of the perspectives you get in the movie. And as I mentioned before, there's not a lot of talking, so there's a lot of parts in the movie where you're not hearing anyone speak, and it might be a little bit weird considering there's not a lot of movies that do this, but I will tell you one thing, the sounds and music in this movie are just ridiculous. Like the music in the background during all these bombs being dropped, guns being fired, it just kind of carries the movie along as if someone was talking. It's really weird. I've never experienced that before, and that's one of the things I love about this movie. The sounds were so freaking loud. I've never been to a movie where the theater was literally shaking. The IMAX did this movie so much justice just because it was just beyond loud. Like, it literally felt like I was at this war right there, hearing everything with my own ears. And I literally loved it. I had my arms kind of on the armrest there, and they were kind of shaking. It was literally the loudest movie ever, as I've probably said about 3 times by now. One of my favorite things about this movie was the Tom Hardy fighter plane scenes. They were awesome. It probably happened maybe 4 times throughout the movie, and I gotta say, Tom Hardy's a badass. He barely even talks. He has a lot of eye acting because he has a mask on, just like he does in a lot of other movies like The Dark Knight Rises. But these fight scenes were crazy. When those guns went off of the plane for the first time, I think maybe 90% of the theater kind of just jumped and jolted because they didn't really expect how loud these sounds were going to be. And I've never really seen a dogfight in that much detail as well, like from the crosshairs to the field. Fuck! Can someone pick that shit up? Another neat thing I want to point out, a lot of you might not even care, but Harry Styles is in this movie. He's a British soldier, and he actually did pretty good. He really surprised me. I didn't think he was going to have that much acting skills, but he actually did pretty good. Just something I'd throw out there if you're a fan of One Direction or Harry Styles. So guys, this movie was pretty entertaining. It wasn't too long, it wasn't too short. It was a pretty good war movie. It wasn't anything really graphic like Hacksaw Ridge with people's limbs kind of tearing apart and all that crazy good stuff. It was a pretty PG-13 war movie, but it was very intense. These sounds were super loud, and the movie was really immersive with the IMAX. It was very fun to watch. So I'm going to give Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan a B+. I really enjoyed it. I'll probably get it on Blu-ray, just not as soon as it's released because I don't want to really pay $25 for it. I'll pay like $10, but nothing really over that. Walmart, you know, hook me up. So thanks for watching my movie review, guys. I really did like this movie, I want to say that. But also, I have a question for you. What is your favorite war movie? Honestly, I don't really know what my favorite one is. I probably have to watch them over again, but I know I really liked Hacksaw Ridge, and I know I really liked Dunkirk. Saving Private Ryan's always a classic, but I really need to watch them all to kind of determine which one's my favorite. So guys, leave a comment or a like or maybe even subscribe to see me next time, and the next video I will be posting will most likely be a movie news video, so make sure you guys subscribe to see that, and I'll see you guys next time.